Alright, what's going on, guys? Try back again. Here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing the versus matchup. Haven't done one of these for a while. This is a viewer requested topic. My apologies, forgot to write down who requested it. And now I can't find it, but I remember the idea and a lot of people seem to want to see it. So let's go ahead and do it. This one's going to be a breakdown between the Walking Dead television series Merle and the Walking Dead comic book series, at least up until this point, Negan. Right, so who would win death battle between the Walking Dead television series as Merle and the Walking Dead comic book series as Negan? And that up until the point, anyway, that we see him in the television series, because they don't have an actor yet for him. You know, we're probably a few seasons away from seeing Negan in a television series, but he's still an awesome character, and anybody who's read the Walking Dead comic book series up to date knows about him, knows how badass he is, and I think it's pretty conclusive at this point that he's even more badass than the Governor is. Even the Governor in the comic book series or the television series, either or. I feel like Negan really has taken over, for me anyway, as the #1 Walking Dead villain overall. Merle, not a villain per se, you know, kind of starts off as a villain, but because of Daryl, sort of, you know, transforms or evolves into an anti-hero and then sacrifices himself at the end against the Governor, killing 8 of his men at that time and killing somewhere in the high 20s in terms of survivors overall, and who knows how many walkers. Now, that being said, Negan has probably killed way more than that, I would think. Now, the thing about him, though, is that in the comic book series, he's been alive for a long time. In terms, people asked me, actually I had a question yesterday, what I think about the time frame of the comic book series. Well, we've never had any official confirmation of how long into the zombie apocalypse the comic book series is. We know it's 112 issues in, but we don't know how many years, we don't know how much time. I don't think we've seen winter for a while. There was winter at the beginning of the comic book series, but I don't recall that happening again. But that could just be, you know, I don't believe that that's all happened, like within 1 year or 2 years, the comic book series, all these events have happened. It's got to be, because it's been 10 years of the comic book series going. So it's got to be at least, I'd say, logically from reading it, you'd have to say at least probably 5 or 6 years in the Walking Dead universe time, unless Robert Kirkman has said different or will say different. I would put it, I would think, approximately at 5 or 6 years in. So in terms of Negan's kill count, it is probably really high. Probably somewhere in like the hundreds, you know, of survivors, and in terms of thousands of walkers, at least thousands, maybe tens of thousands at this point, the amount of walkers he's killed. Weapon of choice, of course, he likes the seal, his baseball bat. We've seen him now use a hunting knife, good-sized hunting knife, to kill, was it Spencer? I think it was Spencer. Or is it Steve? Yeah, Spencer, I believe. And then, of course, we've never really seen him use guns, but we know his men do use guns. Now, in terms of a versus matchup with when you include Negan's men, makes no sense. He's got almost 100 fighters, or somewhere between 50 to 100 fighters in his saviors that we know of. So obviously Merle would be no match for anything like that, of course. But in a one-on-one, if we were going, you know, one versus the other by themselves, who would win? Well, you know, there's a lot of unknowns. Like I said, we've never seen Negan use a firearm, and so that's, you know, obviously if Merle's going to bring like an assault rifle or something, or even a handgun, and Negan just has his baseball bat and knife, even though he's really tricky and really smart and everything of the sort, you know, you'd still have to go with the guy who's got the gun, of course, one-on-one. That being said, I'm sure Negan is accustomed to using guns. I'm sure he didn't survive up to this point and become the leader of all these different groups and men and do all these crazy things to the point where even Rick has to basically listen to what he says. If he wasn't at least able to use a firearm and at least fairly competent with it, he would not have survived up until now. Also, he mentions how, you know, using guns against the dead is really stupid, and that his group basically only saves guns for the living. They do not use guns against the dead. So that just gives you sort of an idea of strategically the mind of that type of character, where he's just this like zombie mob boss that uses other groups to do his work for him, like he's building an empire, you know, type of thing. Building an empire. I don't know if you guys can see my shirt from here. Anyway, yeah. There we go. Okay, now you can see it. Breaking Bad fans know what I'm talking about. Building an empire. Anyway, So with regards to, back on topic here, I mean, let's say Merle's got a slight advantage with the guns. Let's put him there. But hand to hand, ooh, if Negan has his baseball bat, and you know, the thing is, I tend to think that because Negan has survived all this time, you kind of have to give him the advantage, I would say, because he survived up until now. Merle's tough as nails. Don't get me wrong here. He's tough as nails. Michael Rooker's the man and everything like that. He'd probably have an advantage with his gun, but not much of one. And then in terms of close range fighting, I'd have to probably give Negan the advantage just because of his used skills with a baseball bat, skills with a knife, and just he's drawn to be pretty built. He's drawn to be pretty big and strong and everything of the sort. And, if you're going to become a leader of all these kinds of different groups and everything like that and intimidate people to that degree, and to the point where he'll even beat to death characters over the head with a baseball bat without really much of a second thought, he's that cruel. Ooh, I think in a straight one-on-one, as much as I love Merle, don't get me wrong, I think that Michael Rooker's Merle is an amazing character. I think he's awesome, really, really cool, and hardened and everything like that, killed all these people, and is really fearsome and everything of the sort by himself. I still think in this matchup I'd have to go with Negan. He's just like the ultimate, he's one of the most badass characters in all The Walking Dead. I can't wait to see him in the television series and what he's going to be like. But in terms of the comic book series version versus Merle, I think I'd have to go with Negan. Once it comes to close range, if the gun battle doesn't, if the gun battle is kind of a stalemate and they run out of ammunition or whatever the case may be, as soon as it gets to close range with Lucille, I'd have to go with Negan, I think. He's just, you don't become that big unless you're really, really tough, and have that many people listen to you unless you're feared to that degree. And Negan is that. So that's my thoughts on who would win this death battle. I think Negan would win, even though I like Merle better. I'd like to say Merle would win, but I can't do that because that's not really honestly giving my opinion because of how badass Negan is with a baseball bat, everything of the sort, how cruel he is. He's a great fighter, everything of the sort. I'd have to go with Negan. So anyway, thank you guys for this one. Sorry I forgot, like I said before, I forgot to write down the person's name who suggested the video. But if you guys have any other ideas for versus matchups, please feel free to write them below. Doesn't have to be The Walking Dead, could be anything really. I'm going to try to do quite a few videos today, so we'll see how that turns out. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and got a couple more coming the next few days, and of course this weekend should be good with lots of info and stuff coming out from Comic-Con. Especially with The Walking Dead and comic books and all that good stuff. So, anyway, I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, and I'm saying peace.